According to a massive iSeeCars study analyzing over 260 million vehicles, pickup trucks dominate the list of vehicles most likely to reach 250,000 miles, with models like the Toyota Tundra, Toyota Tacoma, and Ford F-250 Super Duty ranking in the top 10 for longevity. In fact, trucks on average are 3 times more likely than passenger cars to cross that milestone, reflecting their reputation for rugged engineering and loyal maintenance. Even more impressive, data from Consumer Reports shows that over 70% of owners of these high-mileage trucks would buy the same model again, citing reliability as the main reason. It's no wonder used examples of these forever trucks command strong resale values, often holding up to 80% of their original price even after 5 years on the road. If you're looking to spend between $10,000 and $40,000, you're in the sweet spot for some of the most reliable used trucks ever built. A solid 2008 to 2015 Toyota Tacoma, for instance, will easily fetch $15,000 to $25,000 depending on mileage. It's not cheap, but there's a reason. The Tacoma is as close as you get to a guaranteed 300,000-mile truck. Its 4.0-liter V6 and 5-speed automatic are basic by modern standards, but that's precisely why they work so well. There's very little to break. Owners have been known to run these trucks into the ground for decades, with many seeing 250,000 miles before any serious mechanical issues appear. The frame rust problems of earlier Tacomas were largely solved by 2006, so the later second-generation models remain the best bet for buyers who want durability without modern complexity. Step up in size, and you meet the Toyota Tundra, which might just be the full-size version of immortality. The Tundra's 5.7-liter iForce V8 has one of the cleanest reputations in the business, and examples built between 2007 and 2013 are now considered near bulletproof. In the used market, they typically sell for $14,000 to $28,000, depending on trim and mileage, and while that might seem high for a truck that's over a decade old, the peace of mind it brings explains everything. People buy these things and don't let them go. Many original owners report crossing the 400,000-mile mark with little more than suspension and brake work. It's heavy, overbuilt, and feels every bit like the Japanese answer to the American workhorse. Beyond North America, there's one Toyota truck that borders on mythical, the Hilux. While you won't find it new in US showrooms, it's the go-to choice across Africa, Australia, Asia, and the Middle East for a reason. It just won't die. Older diesel Hiluxes from the 2008 to 2016 period, usually powered by the 3.0-liter or 2.8-liter turbodiesel engines, routinely reach 500,000 kilometers with basic maintenance. In most global markets, they now sell used for the equivalent of $12,000 to $25,000, depending on condition. If the phrase indestructible truck were in the dictionary, I think a Hilux would be parked beside it. Back in the US, one of the longest-lasting categories isn't midsize at all, but heavy-duty. The Ford Super Duty lineup, the F-250, F-350, and F-450, has a reputation for sheer endurance. A properly maintained diesel Super Duty is the kind of truck that outlives its owner's patience rather than its mechanical limits. The most celebrated of the bunch is the early 2000s model powered by the 7.3-liter Power Stroke diesel, often praised as the last bulletproof Ford diesel before emissions complexity increased. You can still find well-kept 1999 to 2003 examples for $15,000 to $25,000, often with over 200,000 miles on the clock, and still pulling strong. For something newer, the 6.7-liter diesel introduced in 2011 has matured into a powerhouse known for hauling without drama, with prices for early examples hovering between $20,000 and $35,000. No conversation about indestructible trucks is complete without mentioning the Ram 2500 and 3500, particularly those with the legendary Cummins inline-6 diesel. The 5.9-liter versions from the mid-2000s are among the most sought-after trucks in America. It's not uncommon to see these cross the auction block for $25,000 or more, even with heavy mileage. There's a cult-like following around these trucks because the Cummins engine can easily surpass 400,000 miles when properly maintained. The rest of the truck, transmission, suspension, and body, will likely need work before that engine ever gives up. The later 6.7-liter versions added more power, but also more emissions components, so buyers looking for simplicity often chase those earlier models. Chevrolet and GMC's heavy-duty twins, the Silverado 2500 HD and Sierra 2500 HD, also deserve their place in any discussion of longevity. With their Duramax diesels and Allison transmissions, these trucks have become legends among contractors and RV haulers. Models built between 2006 and 2014 represent the best balance of power and reliability, and they're currently trading hands in the $18,000 to $35,000 range depending on mileage. While maintenance costs are higher than average, their lifespan often makes it worthwhile. For anyone who needs to pull 10,000 pounds today, and again 15 years from now, a well-kept Duramax HD is a smart long-term partner. If you'd rather keep things light, the Ford F-150 remains a workhorse of another kind, more accessible, easier to live with, and proven over decades. It's the most common truck on American roads, and that's not by accident. Older models from 2004 to 2008 and the redesigned 2011 to 2016 versions are especially reliable, particularly those with the naturally aspirated 5.0-liter V8. The used market for these is huge, with solid examples running between $10,000 and $25,000. The beauty of the F-150 lies in its simplicity. Parts are cheap, repairs are easy, and mechanics know them inside out. Owners who follow the maintenance schedule and treat them gently have routinely hit 300,000 miles. Not every truck that lasts forever has to be massive. The Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon, the smaller siblings to the Silverado and Sierra, offer a more manageable size and still deliver surprising durability. The earlier 2012 to 2016 models with the 3.6-liter V6 are known for being tough and low stress. They're great for anyone who wants pickup utility without heavy-duty fuel bills. On today's used market, they typically sell for $10,000 to $20,000, and you'll often find them with six-figure mileage still running like clockwork. Then there's the Nissan Frontier, a name that's quietly been around for decades with minimal drama. Frontier owners will tell you that they bought their trucks, drove them for 10 or 15 years, and then passed them down to their kids. The 2005 to 2018 generation is particularly respected for its simple V6 engine and sturdy chassis. It's one of the few trucks where 200,000 miles feels like the halfway point rather than the finish line. Prices vary from $9,000 to $18,000, depending on year and condition, but finding one with a solid maintenance record is easier than you might think. If you want a full-size V8 but prefer a brand that doesn't scream fleet truck, the Nissan Titan deserves attention. Despite being overshadowed by Ford and Chevy, Titans have carved out a small but loyal fanbase. The early 2010s models with the 5.6-liter V8 are known for being nearly indestructible, especially if the owner keeps up with oil changes and cooling system service. You can pick one up for $10,000 to $18,000, and it'll tow, haul, and commute for years without complaint. It's the kind of truck that surprises people with how little trouble it causes. Also, there's Honda's unique contribution to the pickup world, the Ridgeline. At first glance, it doesn't belong here because it's a unibody truck based on a crossover platform. But talk to Ridgeline owners, and you'll quickly understand why it earns its place. These trucks are incredibly well-built, quiet, and astonishingly long-lived. Many first-generation models from 2006 to 2014 are still on the road with over 250,000 miles, needing little more than routine servicing. Because of that reputation, used Ridgelines still command $9,000 to $18,000. The newer 2017 Plus generation continues the tradition, adding refinement without losing that Honda reliability DNA. Outside the US, the Isuzu D-Max is every bit the working man's hero. It's the kind of truck you see hauling produce in Thailand, mining gear in Australia, and still idling perfectly after a decade of abuse. The 2008 to 2018 diesel models with the 4JJ1 or 4JK1 engines are especially sought after. They're easy to fix, cheap to run, and almost impossible to kill. In the used market across Asia and Africa, clean examples go for the equivalent of $10,000 to $20,000, depending on region. If dependability had a smell, it would probably be diesel from an Isuzu D-Max. There's also the Land Cruiser 70 series, which in some countries is sold as a pickup variant. These are not ordinary trucks, they're legend on wheels. Built for rugged terrain, they serve in military, mining, and humanitarian fleets, precisely because they're engineered to survive everything short of a direct meteor hit. Owners routinely put 500,000 miles on them, and they keep going. Prices vary wildly, anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000, depending on how rare or well-kept they are, but they hold their value better than most luxury cars. Returning to American soil, the Chevrolet Silverado 1500 is another proven name. Some model years are hit or miss, but the 2007 to 2013 generation remains a sweet spot for reliability and old-school toughness. These trucks have no problem climbing toward 250,000 miles with regular oil changes and the occasional transmission service. They're widely available and priced between $9,000 and $22,000, depending on condition. The Silverado has become a symbol of consistency. Maybe not flashy, but honest and strong in the way a good truck should be. Rounding out the list is the Ford Ranger, a nameplate that's been all over the world and always known for its simple charm. The earlier U.S. market Rangers from the late 2000s to 2011 are rugged little workhorses that refuse to quit, while the reintroduced 2019 Plus version has proven itself surprisingly tough for a modern midsize pickup. Prices span from $8,000 for an older one to around $30,000 for the newer models, but both generations share the same reliable DNA. In fleets across the globe, Rangers quietly clock enormous distances with minimal complaint, and that speaks volumes about their durability. When you put all of these trucks together, you realize a few patterns. Simpler powertrains consistently outlive complex ones. Diesels, especially from Toyota, Isuzu, and Cummins, tend to run forever when serviced correctly. Even gasoline engines like Toyota's 4.0-liter V6 or Ford's 5.0-liter V8 show remarkable durability because they're engineered for longevity, not cutting-edge performance. It's also clear that maintenance, not magic, is the key to immortality. Trucks that last forever usually belong to owners who change fluids religiously, address leaks early, and resist the urge to push their machines beyond intended limits. Another reason these trucks endure is the community that surrounds them. Parts availability, mechanic familiarity, and online support groups all make ownership easier. A Toyota Tacoma, for example, has an almost cult-like following, which means advice, used parts, and upgrade kits are everywhere. The same is true for F-150s, Silverados, and Cummins Rams. If something breaks, it's fixable, and that alone adds years of life. Used prices for all these long-lived trucks remain high, precisely because they've proven their worth. A high-mileage Tacoma can still cost more than a newer midsize rival, simply because buyers know it's a safer long-term bet. A 250,000-mile Ram 2500 with a Cummins engine still sells because everyone understands that's not the end of its story. It's just another chapter. At the end of the day, trucks that last forever aren't defined by zero breakdowns. They're defined by resilience, by the fact that when something does go wrong, they can be repaired, kept running, and trusted again. Whether it's a Toyota Tundra from the early 2010s, a Ram with that rumbling inline-six diesel, or a modest Nissan Frontier that refuses to die, all of them share one thing. They were built to work, not just to impress. For anyone buying used today, these are the models that prove reliability isn't just a number on a survey. It's the lived experience of countless owners who've driven hundreds of thousands of miles and still wouldn't trade their truck for anything new. If you can find one that's been well cared for, there's a good chance it'll outlast your mortgage, your next car, and maybe even you. That's what it means when we say a truck lasts forever. If you found the video useful, hit the like button to support our channel. Thank you.